Good morning and welcome to Joe Sports Channel. You can follow me on Joe the Fighting Joe on Instagram. You can follow me on Taker Devil One hashtag Joe Sports Channel. Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls of all ages, to all the wonderful and fantastic, beautiful Boonie believers out there, it is March 17th, 2023, a beautiful day just outside of the great city alone, London, Ontario, Canada. It is 9:02 a.m. Folks, everybody has been asking me all over Snapchat, all over Facebook, all over Instagram, what's going on, Joe? We haven't heard your full thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee that Aaron Rodgers is likely to be traded to the New York Jets. Folks, it's a full interview. It's about an hour. I will give you all my thoughts once the interview is over. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee, a couple days ago. Let's recap it all together with the family, with the Boonie believers.
All-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of that team, there's a man who's been a quarterback for that team for a long time. Has won 4 MVPs for that incredible program and organization in the middle of America that has a incredibly prestigious history, all the way back to Curly Lambeau and the boys doing their thing, where you drive into a city that's within a neighborhood. A Home Depot is popping off. There are houses on either side of it, and you get to an NFL stadium that you've learned about on NFL films with Steve Sable making it the prized possession of the NFL Lambeau Field. There's a man that's been quarterback for that place for a long, long time. And that place is seemingly in the middle of a transition. Is that true? Where's this guy going to be playing football next year? Will it be in that Lambeau Field? Will it be on a beach as a retired man? Or will it potentially be in the city of New Jersey? It's
the shadows of New York.
What is it? It's in New Jersey. Anyways, the New York Jets. Just out of the darkness, the topic of the conversation, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. What's up, dude?
Good afternoon. Good morning here. Good afternoon there.
How are you, man? There's a lot going on in your world, bro. I don't even know if you know this or if you've been so locked in. How are you doing? Where are you right now? And what's up, brother?
Yeah, I'm in Southern California. I've been down here for a little bit now. I'm not right out of the darkness. I was in the darkness for 5 days, 4 nights in the end of February. So we're a little bit past that now. We're moving to the middle of March now.
Ides of March, if you will. The Ides of March.
Ides of March, yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay, well, okay, good.
Ides of March, long ago, but
toga, right? A lot of toga parties.
Yep.
That makes sense.
You bet.
People are dancing, having a good time.
Sure.
Yep.
Brute, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot has happened since you come back into the light, pal. How are you with it all?
I've been good. You know, the darkness gave me a lot of time to contemplate everything. I talked about a lot of it on Aubrey's podcast, which was a few days after I came out. But it was a great reset for me, for my body, for my mind, and you know, maybe a little bit longer than I needed. I felt like by the time I got to the 4th day, I was like, all right, I'm ready to come out.
Okay. We wondered about that. It was that's an extended period of time.
Oh yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
No light, no nothing. 4 days, Jesus. 5 days, you said?
Well, parts of 5 days. It's 3 full days in there, 4 nights. You kind of go in the afternoon of one day, come out the morning of the 5th day. So.
Okay, so at what point did you forget what day it was, or did you know what day it was? Is there some sort of schedule?
Well, food that came at 6 o'clock every day, so I had an idea of where I was. You're kind of counting down the nights. Once you get to the 3rd night, you're like, okay, I have one more night of this after this night. So that's kind of how you gauge the whole process.
Did you mill towards where the food was coming from when you thought it was about time for food time? Like, did you stand impatiently near that thing as the food was coming down, or was it a surprise? Oh shit, food time. What do you think?
It's so quiet that you're just listening for that door handle to come up, and then you're like, oh, finally, it's 6 o'clock, I can eat. But there's not a lot of sounds in there. That's why the meditations in there are incredible, because there's zero distractions, there's zero light. Your eyes don't adjust, so you can't even see parts of the room. You have some hallucinations. at some point where the room looks different than it actually does, and you really got to kind of walk around with one hand out here, one hand out over here, so not bumping into stuff. But yeah, I'm glad I did it.
Queen's Gambit on the roof, hallucinating?
Yeah.
Really?
Whoa.
Wow. What day was that? What food was that? I'm sorry.
Day three.
Okay, so is that like the expected time? Like day 3, this is when it's going to start happening?
I think so. And there wasn't any vitamins or anything. It was all natural. So,
man, you went in there completely sober into a hole.
Yeah.
Day 3, Queen's Gambit's taking place. Obviously, we heard on Aubrey's podcast, you got to think a lot. You thought about life, what it would be like as a retired human. You thought about life, what it would be like coming back and playing. We knew that was a massive thought for you because how much of an investment it is to kind of give a football season, especially now. It's the longest season it's ever been. There's 17 regular season games. Was that a good place for you to gain clarity? And did you know that you were going to retire or not retire soon after the darkness, or was that like a real discussion up until recently for you?
Well, I think this goes back to the last season when I was planning this trip. Where I was at mentally was this would be a great transition into the next chapter of my life. This is mid to late February. Finish the season out. Obviously we were still in it and still kind of trending. The dream is, you finish things out, you win the Super Bowl, and then you go into the darkness, go into retirement, and that's kind of a transition period for you. Obviously, we didn't do that. We got bounced and didn't make the playoffs. So it was, getting away from the season, the frustration, the emotion, and then just allowing myself to contemplate both retirement and then coming back to playing and what that looks like. And I'm really thankful for that time in the darkness.
So what does it look like? What did you where are you at right now when it comes to everything we hear about the Jet situation? The coach's GM flew out to see you in Southern California. Where are you right now? What are we doing?
Great question.
Well, I think that there's, again, which is pretty standard. There's some information out there that's true for sure. There's a lot that isn't true. There's some that has parts of truth to it. There's a lot that has zero truth to it. I will say this, because there's probably a lot of different, non-usual viewers today.
A lot. Yeah.
This isn't a decision day. This isn't me deciding and announcing to the world that this is what's going on. In fact, that's already happened. We're actually days past this. This is kind of clearing things up, I think, for everybody interested, which there obviously seems to be a lot of people interested. So the whole. And I'm going to get into this now, if you don't mind, Pat. I'm going to go for a little bit here.
Hey, go ahead. There's 430,000 people currently, so a lot more people watching than normal, and they are all interested because you're a fucking dog as a football player. So go ahead and do your thing, pal.
Listen, I love you guys, and I enjoy coming on. But this was, coming on the show was never going to be to announce I'm retiring or I'm coming back or blah, blah, blah. This is more just to tell you exactly the state of affairs where we sit today on March 15th, because there have been a lot of changes. The history of this and kind of the timeline, which I think is important, that's why I'm going to go through it, is that in 2020, they drafted Jordan to replace me. Now, there wasn't a replacement right away, but as is the case with the Packers and kind of the way they do things, they like to get rid of players like a year early instead of a year late in their mind. So there's probably some people who believe that I was a descending player and that it was time to make a change, even though we're just coming off the NFC Championship game. And obviously we got blown out by San Fran, but we had a 13-3 season and we're the number 2 seed and made it all the way to the NFC Championship. So they drafted a guy to replace me. Now, maybe not right away because there was nothing about trading in the immediate. But even farther back from that, you have to realize I was drafted in 2005 by Ted Thompson. The front office at that time looked a lot different. Front office consisted of Ted Thompson, John Schneider is now GM of Seattle, Reggie McKenzie, who went on to be GM of Oakland, John Dorsey, who went on to be GM of Cleveland, Elliott Wolf, who'd been in front office for a number of years, whose dad obviously was an architect of the Packers, awesome guy. That was the front office of the Packers. So the front office now looks completely different. You know, there's still obviously some scouts and different people that have been around for a while, but that was the guys who were there when I was drafted in 2005. Fast forward to 2020, and when they drafted Jordan, there's none of those guys there. So this is a new regime. You know, the president of the Packers in 2005 was Bob Harlan. You know, father of Kevin Harlan. Bob, legendary guy. I love Bob so much. I have so much love.
How do you go?
And you know, and obviously for the organization, so many people that work in the organization, the fan base. I mean, I love Green Bay. Like, it's always going to be home. But a lot of those people who were there in the beginning aren't there now. You know, again, a lot of my closest friends are still, you know, in the training room. You know, Flea and Nate and Kurt. And you know, some of the old heads, and obviously the, you know, equipment room, you know, what an incredible staff that is with Red and T-Bone and Brian Nearing and Odie and Kevin Nelson, who recently retired, but Kevin and Adam in the cafeteria and Doug Collins and Justin Crabb and all the, you know, awesome people that have been there forever. But a lot of people who, you know, were there in the beginning just aren't there as far as decision makers go. So when they drafted Jordan, you know, this conversation would have happened a lot sooner had I not won, you know, back-to-back COVID MVPs.
Just remember, they got rid of their best receiver, the best wide receiver in the game today in Davante Adams. Where is he now? He's in Vegas. Now you just lost Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. The best still, in my eyes and in multiple eyes. And whoever thinks Aaron Rodgers is overrated or Aaron Rodgers is should just retire, you guys are a bunch of clowns. That's all I can say. This guy's been screwed year in, year after. How do you get Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and all these quarterbacks like Russell Wilson? When Wilson was good in his day, they were gifted. Aaron Rodgers was never gifted a decent receiver. They backstab him. We get rid of Jordy Nelson. We get rid of Davante Adams. I can go on all day. Such a disgrace.
So we come off of last year with obviously missing playoffs. I didn't have an MVP season.
They've been screwing him for years, folks.
You know, I was interested in where they would be at mentally. Everything that I was told in the week that I was in Green Bay was take as long as you want, and you know, we want you to retire Packer. You know, you want to come back and play. Obviously, the door is wide open. So that was the information that I was going on. Now, when I came out of the dark.
Just pause it for a sec. You know exactly what the Packers did? They backstabbed this individual, number 12, Aaron Rodgers from California. Okay. This guy has done everything for Green Bay. Everything for Green Bay. He is the best. He is the best. And I'm going to say this loud and clear. You can disagree with me all you want, but he is the best quarterback in Green Bay. He's better than Brett Favre. He's better than Barb Starr. He's better than many, many Packer quarterbacks. He is the best, actually, and he still is the best. And you know what? If he goes to New York, I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope the guy wins a damn Super Bowl.
Something changed. I'm not exactly sure what that was, but something changed. And I got back to my phone after 5 days off of it, you know, because your phone's not on the entire time. There's no Wi-Fi on that, you know, hippie mountain. And when I got back to that little shack they have where there's a, you know, one bar of Wi-Fi, and got back to you know, hundreds of text messages.
And remember, never believe in the media. A lot of fake and false information out there. A lot of false information about Aaron Rodgers. Believe me.
Emails and all different things. I realized that there'd been a little bit of a shift, and that I heard from multiple people that I trust around the league, players mostly. That there was some shopping going on, that they were interested in actually moving me. And at this point, you know, I got to admit, I went in the darkness, 90% retiring, 10% playing. That's where my mind was. My mind was, I'm tired of this. I hadn't got back into my workouts yet, and I thought that was what was best for me. So I went in the darkness to contemplate a lot of different things. But one day I spent entirely on the reality I was retired, and one day I spent entirely on the reality that I was coming back and playing. And just really sat with that for hours and hours, what that looked like, what the reality is, how that all felt. And when I came out, I was really interested in what the kind of landscape was, where Green Bay was at. And obviously, if I wanted to play, you know, what were the options? So it was clear to me at that point that although the Packers were going to say the right thing publicly, that they were ready to move on. And again, I don't know what changed that or what moved that. If they just said, hey, we need to make a decision here because he hasn't made a decision yet. Again, there's no victims here. I'm not sitting here as a victim. I love Green Bay. I love the fan base. They're incredible. I lived for playing for them and for Lambeau. A lot of love for the organization. I just think I wish that in the beginning of the offseason, that had been the conversation, because I love direct communication. If they had just said, listen, we think it's time to move in a different direction, and we love you, and you're going to be a Packer Hall of Famer, you're going to go in the Hall as a Packer, we're going to retire your number, whatever it might be, but it's time to move on. I would have said, man, thank you so much just for telling me that. Like, I really, really appreciate that. That means the world to me that you would tell me that, because I really believe that's a sentiment, and that's fine. It really is. It's totally fine. This is an incredible profession, but it's a tough business for sure.
You've said that for a long time, Aaron. You've said that for a long time.
Some of these issues were things I was talking about 2 years ago. It was how do we treat older players on the way out? And it's ironic that now I'm that player, but I think that's the beauty in life is the the sense of humor that the universe has. But so I'm no malice, no bitterness towards the Packers. It's been bittersweet for sure the last 10 days. So I've shifted my focus to entertaining, what the plane would look like, and had the Packers granted obviously permission for the Jets to come out and visit. We had a nice visit. They decided to leave their cars in the street, which attracted paparazzi attention, which got a few of them photographed, which I thought was pretty funny. But
had a couple of mistakes early.
But we had a nice conversation, and I told them, listen, I'm not ready to make a decision about anything. I want to get back into my workouts and see how it feels. To really hit it hard for a week. I've obviously been working out before that, but to really hit it hard for a week and to see if that drive and the passion is still there, and then I'll see where we're at. And so again, this is why this is not a decision here. The decision I think was made in my mind whether or not I was able to admit at that point. Really on that Tuesday, I wanted to play, and then it was how is my body?
Pause it for a sec. Just remember, this guy was back-to-back MVPs. Back-to-back MVPs. What does MVP stand for? Most Valuable Player. This is what they do? What a shame.
Feeling, is he going to be able to hold up? So at this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me, and kind of digging their heels in. So I would just, I think it is interesting at this point to step back and look at the whole picture. My side, love and appreciation, gratitude for everything that Green Bay has done for me. So much love and gratitude, and just heart open for the Packer fans and what it meant to be their quarterback. And also the reality of the situation, like it is what it is. The Packers would like to move on. They've let me know that in so many words. They've let other people know that in direct words. And because I still have that fire, and I want to play, and I would like to play in New York, it's just a matter of, getting that done at this point.
Okay, people in New York are doing this right now.
Yeah.
People in New York are pumped right now, and I appreciate you laying it all out there. I appreciate you detailing your side of it, why you feel the way you feel. Now, obviously, there's like 400,000 plus people watching. Not everybody will get to hear that. I hope everybody gets a chance to hear why you are in the position that you're in, and also why you chose to come on here today, because there's a lot of drama allegedly being built by you, dragging this out. Is this guy doing this? Because the last we had heard, and although you made your decision on Friday, the last we had heard is you were contemplating still wanting to play, or do you want to play for the Jets, or do you want to play for another team? So you giving your side of it, I think, lets a lot of people that are maybe hating know, like, yo, let's understand there's a whole nother layer to this, which is how all the insiders have been talking about it. That layer, are you involved in that process at all with what the compensation is? Are you completely hands off of that and you're just along for the ride with everybody else? Or how active have you been in the whole process here, Aaron?
Pretty hands off of that, honestly. I've just been focused on working out and taking care of my business out here. I obviously have an agent, and the GMs have been talking, I'm sure, about that. At this point, like I said, it's my intention to play for the Jets, but I'm still under contract with the Packers. So
yeah, they got no leverage either. I don't know how many people are watching. They're trying to compare this to the Matthew Stafford situation. Matthew Stafford, a part of the trade and what they gave up was because they were taking on Jared Goff's contract that was massive. Your contract would be leaving the team, so take that out of the leverage pool. And also, they've pretty much put them in a position contractually with Jordan Love because they have to decide whether or not they're going to pick up the 5th year. They made this decision by drafting Jordan Love that everybody else knows that they're going to another quarterback anyways, and they don't want it on the book. So it's a vastly different leverage situation. I think we all just assumed that would have got done. I think that's why we were all thinking that it was you. Has this surprised you a little bit as well, or no?
I mean, not really, honestly.
Oh, okay. Why not?
Well, listen, I think, my plea is, and I would say this is debatable, but I'm debatably the best player in franchise history. I'm in the conversation for sure.
That was awesome.
What's not debatable is I'm the longest tenured Packer in history. Like, you can debate the first part, obviously. Bart, Brett, a number of names have been incredible.
Whoa.
But you can't debate anybody who's been there longer than I have. And nobody's bled green and gold.
Agree.
I love that city. I love those fans. I love that region. And I've never been a free agent. I've never even got there. Yeah, the team has done it, but I've never said, let me test free agency here. Like, because I want to, I kind of want to get out of here. Like, this weather, or, whatever it might be. Just, I need a new, it was never that. I love Green Bay. I do love Green Bay. I mean, I love the people. I love going to Chives. And,
we love you
seeing
too,
my buddy
Aaron.
Logan. I love India Bob on now. Incredible Indian spot in town.
Hell yeah. That's good.
I love my boy Rob at Frame Makers. I love so many people in that town. So many people that work at the organization. And I love our fans, man. We got a great fan base. I mean, it was never about that. Now it's about the reality situation, and I think there's probably people who are really wanting to move on, and I get it. I'm not upset about it. I have nothing but love in my heart for every Packer fan and everybody that works in the organization. My life is better because of my time in Green Bay. But we just got to look at the reality. They want to move on. They don't want me to come back, and that's fine. They're ready to move on with Jordan. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think Jordan's going to be a great player. He's a fucking great kid. He had a really good year this year, getting better, on the look team. He's got a bright future in front of him. They got a good young team. I got so many great friends on that team that I'm still going to be great friends with. But the fact of the matter is, like, you got a aging, face of the franchise for the last 15 years that it's time to do right by. And let's listen to your language. Mark Murphy said it the other day, right?
Had a great career. Yeah. If the only way Aaron would be the quarterback is if what we want to happen obviously doesn't happen. So that's what he actually said publicly, which I think you said if he would have told you that before you were going into this process, you wouldn't have been so offended by it all. I think when you laid it all.
Honestly, I wasn't offended by it at all. I'm not offended.
No. But like the miscommunication wise, he didn't tell you that was the case. They told you to take your time. And then when you came out of the darkness, it was like a different message. And you said this has kind of been an issue with Green Bay alum for a long time. It's like how you handle the whole next.
Well, just look at the track. Look at the track record from the guy sitting over there to
all-time leading
what happened with Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb and Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Brett Good, on and on and on. There's just a way of doing things that they want to bring him back. That's fine. It's a business. But there's a way of doing it that allows the man to keep the dignity. And honestly, that's some of the stuff I was fighting for a couple of years ago. Like, how can we do this a little bit better? If we want to be about family and want to be about love and taking care of our people, like, let's put our actions where our words at. Because it's really important to me. That part is important. Now I'm the person, and look, I'm not offended by any of this. I'm not a victim by any of this. I don't have that mentality. I have nothing but love and appreciation. It's been bittersweet. Like coming to this reality has been really bittersweet because I was drafted by Green Bay. I fucking love that city, love that organization, and always going to have love for that organization. But the facts are right now, they want to move on.
Oh my God, it's right there. You see it.
And now so do I.
Hey, do you see it? AJ, do you see you see what's like?
Chips are stacking up the chips. That's right. Stacking the chips on your shoulder. We know that. Hey, quick, if you, let's say you came out of the darkness retreat, as you said, what, 5 days, 4 nights, I believe, long time in there, very long time. Say you check your.
The fact that the Packers want to move on from A-Rod, known as Aaron Charles Rodgers, just truly hits my heart in a sense of pain. Why? Why not give this guy what he wants? Why not give him wide receivers? Give him anything in the world. You give all these other quarterbacks, these new quarterbacks, in the name of Patrick Mahomes, MVPs he's won. Super Bowl, he has 2 Super Bowls. He's getting everything in the world. But Aaron Rodgers never got anything. You go in, you get rid of Jordy Nelson. That's one thing. And then you go and get rid of Davante Adams, the best receiver in the game in today. Had a phenomenal season last year. Missed the playoffs. If the Packers kept Davante Adams, ladies and gentlemen, last year, the Packers would be 13-3. We had a lot of balls dropped this year. A lot of rookies made mistakes, and rookies are there to make mistakes. But the Packers shouldn't have rookies, maybe 1 or 2, but this team should be on top of the division. This team shouldn't be at the bottom of the division. We lose to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, yes, I understand the Lions are coming off a terrible season a couple of years ago, and they started terrible at the beginning of the season. Then after, the Packers losing against the Lions, when I was at Lions Stadium with my uncle, they started playing good football. They were like 1-6, 2-6, and they go, and we had everything in the world. We had Lambeau Field. It was cold. Detroit comes and knocks us out. We should be the one 13-3. We should be the one beating Minnesota. We should be the one beating Kansas City. We should be the one on top of the world champions. But unfortunately, the media says Aaron Rodgers is a selfish person. Aaron Rodgers is this. Aaron Rodgers is that. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy has put all his heart into this team. And at the end of the day, they give him a spit in the face. You know what? That's a spit on the Packers organization. It tells you right there what kind of organization we have. We can't even draft a receiver. We go and draft Jordan Love. There's no love for Love in Green Bay. You think Jordan Love is going to be a Brett Favre or an Aaron Rodgers? In your dreams. This guy's an average quarterback. An average quarterback. Yes, he sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, like Brett Favre. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 3 years as well. But what I'm trying to get to is when a guy's been on the team for over a decade, give him what he wants. The guy's worth millions of dollars, 50 million, 60 million. He earned it. He took you guys to the playoffs. But unfortunately, you get rid of guys like Davante Adams once again. You keep Davante, you get a DK Metcalf, put Love to the side, get DK Metcalf. This team should at least have 2 or 3 Super Bowls. Rodgers should at least have 2 or 3 Super Bowls. And I'm getting so tired up and fed up with the media. And you know what? People say Aaron Rodgers is a clown. No, you guys are the clown who thinks Aaron Charles Rodgers is a clown. Shame on you guys and shame on the Green Bay Packers organization. It is a shame. If we're going to have Jordan Love as the starting quarterback, folks, we're in for a long season until we pick up some receivers. Until we can do something, there's no love for Love in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I'm a diehard Packers fan, and I love Aaron Rodgers. And if he goes to the Jets, I hope he destroys every single freaking team because this guy deserves everything in the world.
Phone in Green Bay you get your first text was, hey, man, we love you. Come on back. We need this. Would you have been gung-ho going back to Green Bay?
This is the best part.
I mean, that's a good question. Not really. I just felt like I knew that wasn't going to happen, number one. But
remember, they got rid of Randall Cobb as well. And I'm glad that Lazard signed a 4-year contract, I think worth up to $44 million, goes to the Jets. So I hope Randall Cobb, he talks, Randall Cobb, and let's say if we can get Odell Beckham Jr. in New York, that would be phenomenal. Guy, I wish him the best. I'm going to stop talking now.
But number two,
why though? If you said when you left at the end of the season, though.
Let me get to it. Because
let him answer a question, AJ. Jeez, ask him a question, let him answer. Thank you, Aaron. Sorry about it. Jeez.
That just wasn't the sentiment that I felt throughout the season. You know, especially even towards the end of the season, it felt like everybody was ready to move on. And, you know, I was interested by what the conversation would be in the week after the season, but it was pretty obvious they weren't staying on the table. They weren't doing the opposite, though. It was kind of in the middle where whatever you want to do, you know, we'll kind of do. And obviously that changed, and they felt like they had to take a hard line, which, you know, look, nobody wants to be the bad guy in a situation. And honestly, there isn't at this point a bad guy in the situation. As long as everything gets resolved the right way, they want to move on. And now I want to play. And so that would obviously be me moving on as well.
So you know how I was saying chips on the shoulder there. I don't know if you took that as a compliment or if you agree with that or not. But Michael Jordan, right at that Utah restaurant we saw in The Last Dance, that's all I need that motherfucker to say. And the guy was like, hey, good luck tomorrow, Michael Jordan. Like, you're the greatest player of all time. And he's like, yeah. The way he said it, though. Did you said you were thinking about, you know, retirement 90-10. Going into the darkness because the plan was to win a Super Bowl and do that. Then you come out of there and you chat with the Green Bay Packers, even though they had a different tone. How much of that was kind of a driver to be like, yeah, you know what? Actually, I still want to go. Or was that something you thought about in the darkness or previously? Like if you could find motivation, if you could find another, maybe mountain to climb, if you could, was any of that a thought that maybe you had during the darkness or before that was kind of reignited whenever Green Bay said, we're planning on basically moving on, or do you not view it that way?
No, not really. I mean, I think when I left Green Bay, you know, a week after the season, 8 days, whatever it might have been, 8 or 9 days, I felt like that was it. I felt like I wasn't coming back. It was just a feeling. I wouldn't base anything more than maybe
on how they're acting.
Just on how it felt. It felt like this was my last time, you know, in Green Bay as a starting quarterback. But I was open to that changing based on how, you know, people responded or didn't respond but, you know, there was some conversation around, you know, what you want to do in the off season and are you okay if we don't bring back any of your guys? That honestly didn't have a big bearing on it. It was more just a sense that, hey, let's just be honest, like, you drafted Jordan. If I hadn't won MVP twice in a row, this would have been a conversation 2 years before, which is totally fine, and I get it. And Ted Thompson, you know, rest his soul, is not there anymore. He drafted me. None of those guys are, you know, who were there other than Sam Seo, who was the West Coast scout.
Just gotta say, Ted Thompson did draft Aaron Rodgers, and if Ted Thompson was still alive and he was watching this and witnessing this, he would be disgusted as well as the rest of the real fans out there and the real true media, if you want to call. Ted Thompson, rest in peace, brother.
You know, who supposedly stood on the table to, you know, for me. Shout out to Sammy, but
hey, shout out Sam. Shout out Sammy.
He's still there, but you know, it's a different regime, and every regime wants to have their guys in there, and I totally understand it. I mean, it's a business. Like, I'm not naive to that. It is what it is, and you know, I just have a lot of gratitude for the time there. But now it's time to, you know, to do the right thing, because I don't think there's a scenario where they're like, well, you know, we want this, and Jets aren't willing to give it to us, so we'll take you back. Like, you know. That's not the reality.
All right. Over the last couple of years, we've had a book club. So I'm going to make a literacy reference here. You know what time it is?
What time?
What's that?
Turn the page.
Ooh,
Oh,
See what we did right there?
Okay.
That was also right to a new chapter. And let's make that happen. Okay. It sounds like there's maybe some conversations behind the scenes between the Packers and Jets that are holding this whole thing up, that the fans should maybe send their direct drama and bullshit hate to, is what I think we just cleared up there. Now let's talk about the future a little bit here. You sent a list of demands. Need you to sign Lazard.
Yep.
You need to sign Randall Cobb.
Yep.
I want Jordy Nelson out of the fucking ranch. Into New Jersey. I want him on there. Did that all happen? Or, you know, Hackett is the new offensive coordinator. Has had success with all those guys as well whenever he was in Green Bay. But you were getting a lot of the, this must be, because you just alluded to it too there. They told you you're not bringing that back your guys. How much of that conversation has taken place? And how do you feel about the narrative that you have a laundry list before you can do anything?
Well, it's so ridiculous.
Hey, that's happening though. Like, you need to know.
Yeah.
You need to know that. I know you're in your house. Whales are probably out there birthing and stuff out in Malibu. You're working out, doing your thing. This is a real conversation that's happening. We don't understand it either, pal. Honestly. Well, until now, we didn't have a clue what was happening. But you get it after all that.
Listen, just ask Schefter what I text him when he somehow got my number and texted me. You know, I didn't respond to Diana Rossini, I think her name is.
Yes,
Like,
Diana.
You got my
Great
number as
work.
well. But like, I would say the same thing that I told Shefty. Lose my number.
Ooh.
Nice try. Listen, I'll speak for myself. I'm sure there'll be people that you know have their sources, but you know, from what I've seen, it's like I had a sheet of paper when I met with the Jets, and I said, "Sign these people." And that's not the reality. That's so ridiculous.
All right, that sounds good.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
To think that I would do it, number one. Now, did they ask me about certain guys that I played with over years? Of course. Did I talk glowingly about teammates that I love? Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Talk about the guys you love.
Well,
I mean, like,
don't actually.
like,
no.
like, yeah. Do I love those guys on the list? Of course. Do I make demands about certain people? I mean, it's just, and it goes to this, like, you know, people want these things to be so true that, like, I'm in this meeting, you know, dressed in, you know, ceremony regalia, giving them some sort of like handwritten on parchment demand list of people they need to sign. Like, listen, I think objectively, a lot of people can look at Alan Lazard and go, he's a really good player. We would love to have him on our team. And then anybody with a brain would maybe call me on any team and go, hey, what kind of, you know, locker room guy is Alan Lazard? What's his work ethic like? And I'd say, he's a fucking great dude. You know, dude, anybody would be lucky to have him in the locker room. And if somebody asked me about Big Dog or Cobby, or I don't even know who else was on that list, I'd say the same thing.
Jordan.
Fucking awesome
Odell.
dudes.
Oh, Odell.
I mean, first of all, who wouldn't want to have Odell on their team? Like,
Agreed. Yeah, he'd be cool.
like, come on. But what are we talking about here? I don't have demands. Look, my only demand is for transparency, and if you say some bullshit, like, you know, there's sometimes it's not even worth it. But like I said, you know, I can't remember exactly what something that Rappaport said or some shit.
Yes.
But like, when something gets out there and then assumed to be true, then it can take on a life of its own. It can go from, oh, there was a conversation about 20 different players to, oh, he wants, you know, these guys to be signed, otherwise he doesn't want to come. It's like, come on, what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's all in the delivery of the information, because that kind of sets it, you know? And that happens multiple times during the day on the internet with every piece of information. Somebody has their take on it, and they're covering it, right? So they can say they cover everything, but they are certainly putting their
Well, it's a game of telephone. Then it becomes this whole thing, you know. It's like, then I'm presented in, you know, in a black folder, you know, with specific to, you know, Helvetica, you know, font that, you know, it's my favorite font or some shit.
Papyrus is a good one.
Yeah,
I mean, that one's kind of, yeah, those are all good ones. Very Papyrus is Avatar, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Avatar, which could be real, right? We don't have time to talk about that. We will move on. Here's a great tweet with a caption. Green Bay Packers shareholder owner and Green Bay Packers super fan gets chance to ask Aaron Rodgers question on day he finds out Aaron Rodgers wants to play for the New York Jets. Ty Schmidt, your question for Aaron Rodgers.
Not really a question, and I'll just speak for myself, but I think I do speak for a vast majority of the fan base. Just want to say thank you, Aaron. You know, I mean, it really has been a pleasure, a joy, and a privilege watching you play. Like, some of the best memories of my entire adult life are watching, you with my brothers and my dad. It sucks, obviously. Like, I wanted you to retire a Packer, but I'm glad you're still playing. I'll love to continue to watch you play.
Hell yeah.
So I hope everything that you want to happen does happen. And I really, again, no malice. I mean, it does suck, and it's going to hurt for a while. I do feel a bit like Julius Caesar today on the Ides of March. I mean, Aaron. Yeah. But
no.
I get it. Anyone to be pissed about being able to watch you and your greatness over the last 18 years is a fucking buffoon. So appreciate you. Looking forward to watching you. It just sucks you're not going to retire, Packer.
Proud of you, Ty.
We go, Ty.
Practice it. You nailed it.
Stay strong. Stay strong.
Yeah. Ty, thanks, buddy. That's why it's been so bittersweet, is because I love that town so much, and I have so much love for so many people I've met over the years associated with that. The game has given me a ton. I've tried to return that as much as I can, but that town, that region, that state has given me so much love and support, from the day I was drafted, which was obviously controversial, to when I took over in 2008 and winning the Super Bowl, all the incredible memories over the years, and the fun interactions with fans, at events or just at the store or at a Bucks game or on a golf course or whatever it might be. Like, and you see them all over the place. I ran into Packer fans in Rome walking through the ruins. They're just everywhere, and there's just such great people. I just have so much love for them. That's why it's been really, really hard. It's been hard to get to this point. And there's a lot of sadness, for sure. There was definitely, a day of mourning, I think, of just all that time, those memories, the love I have for that place. But that place is always going to be really, really special to me, as are those fans and the memories. They can't take them away. And look, there's a lot of emotion in this, so I don't fault anybody for voicing that emotion, for sharing those things. Some people might regret some of them later, but
probably after listening today, because there's Packers fans that are pissed off that you were taking forever to make the decision too, because there was so much money being held hostage, and there was tampering allowed to happen during the free agency. So you're holding them hostage as well. This was all things that were actually being said. I have to relay the message.
And I'm sensitive to all that. I really am. I'm sensitive to all that. And again, like, I don't have any malice towards any of those people. Our fans are so passionate in Green Bay.
I mean, yeah,
they show up, and there's a 50-year waiting list for tickets, and they pack that place every single year, and they live and die with the Packers, and there's nothing like it across the league, and I'm just really, really thankful. I got to be the starting quarterback of the Packers for 15 years. I got to be in an organization for 18 years. Like, 18 years, that's a teenager. That's becoming an adult. And that's what I did there. Right. And that's what I did there. And it was because of the people I met there and the places I went and the times that I had. So, man, I love you, Green Bay. Thank you. And I'm as sad as some of you are, but we'll meet again.
Yeah, hell yeah. Mark Murphy said that he'll be in our Hall of Fame. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. His number will be retired, which leads to Boston Connor's question for you. By the way, it's great to hear you speak like that about a team, and a city and a people. That's cool, because it was very obviously rather heavy on you there. Had that moment. Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's easy because the emotions are real. The tears are real. The emotions are real. And the love for those colors and that G and what that meant to me when I always told the guys, like, that G follows you wherever you go. Like, so when you're out on the road, when you're back home, when you're out to dinner, like, you're representing an incredible organization. And I said those words, and I took those words to heart and always try to represent the G the right way.
Also, the history of the organization provides things that not a lot of other franchises can have, like the rivalry with the Chicago Bears. That you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, now that's Zito. He just had a great last 42 minutes here.
Yeah,
Zito has had a fantastic 42 minutes.
Love you, Aaron.
Yeah, he's a big fan as a Chicago Bear fan. But listening to you talk about that rivalry in a game that I think, with what the Bears have been, no offense, ZD.
Much
you guys
much
are making much big
mana.
plays. But with what the Bears have been over a big chunk of recent history here, a lot of people outside of that, I don't think, know that it's a massive rivalry. Like, hey, this is the real deal. So getting a chance to experience that the last few years with you and how you talk about it and how serious you take it, it's like, obviously you take a lot of pride in the fact that you're a Green Bay Packer, because a rivalry that nobody really knows is as big as it is very serious to you in your 18th year, 17th year in the NFL. And you even told Justin Fields, like, hey, take this rivalry seriously. This is a real deal. Carry it on. It's like, you've always been very passionate towards the Packers, man. Always been very passionate towards the Packers. Connor has a question, though, for you about a team that has a passionate fan base and a situation potentially brewing.
Yeah, as a Patriots fan, I got to say, thanks a lot, Mark Murphy. You kind of fucked us, okay? The guy was going to retire, now he's going to be a Jet. Really appreciate that. With that being said, welcome to the AFC East. Aaron, you might have heard Joe Namath come out and say, hey, if Aaron comes to New York, he can wear the number 12. When you're picturing it in your head, are you taking that 12 from the rafters, putting it on your chest, or just for all these jersey swaps? Should we maybe put on like a 2? Maybe you're wearing number 1. What are we thinking there?
Oh, maybe a 0? That might get passed.
Listen, that's a great question, Connor. With respect to the emotions, I think there'll be time for all those conversations down the road. And today was about talking about the past and the love I have for the team, and then giving an update on what's going on today. So that's a great question. I've seen what Joe said. There'll be time to talk about that down the road.
Thanks, Connor.
Yeah, well, the Jets suck.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, Connor. Hey, Patriots hate the Jets. I guess that's a thing. You know that.
All of us do. Bills, Finns, Patriots. I mean, the Jets are the worst.
That's the kitchen, baby. They want it in there.
Bingo.
Hey, they want it hard in there. They've been waiting.
Yeah.
You're going to get a parade over there from what I've been heard for how long it's been.
Big time.
I don't know if you know that. Gary V is going to be at the front of that. He might write a 6th New York Times bestseller about you coming to the city. It's going to be Accurate Aaron. It's going to be this little figure that is in his NFT collection that comes and puts an entire city on his back. I mean, there's a chance that type of shit happens in New York. This is a whole different market now.
Yeah.
Tone has a question for you, Aaron.
Aaron, was it always the Jets? Was there any other teams that potentially you knew that were trying to get you? Or was it just retirement Packers, Jets?
Are you sick of having issues with your webinars, wasting tons of time on troubleshooting with attendees?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there were other teams that were interested, and obviously there's certain players that I have a lot of love and affinity for. And the reuniting with especially one specific person would have been
Devontae in Las Vegas. You're talking about Devontae Adams?
Not mentioning any names, but there's definitely one particular guy who him and I have this special kind of unspoken rapport. So
that's Devontae. Okay, yeah, that's Devontae Adams, who's currently on the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
But you're right.
If I was a demanding person, I probably would.
Whoa.
Is that Devontae?
I'm back. Yeah, I'm
Come on,
back.
shout
I
out
got
The Raiders?
Yeah. No.
Oh, we didn't know if they were back in the game.
If there's anybody that I would have wanted to put on the ban list, I mean, if you can incorporate any player across the league, it would be one specific person. But that being said, like I said, it was leaning definitely towards retirement. That's what I felt like when the clock hit 0 at Lambeau. That's why I wanted to walk off with Randall Cobb. That's just kind of what it felt like.
Oh, that was cool. Ben, that's a really cool moment.
Uh,
Who's calling you? Who's calling you? This is a big deal, obviously. Somebody got your phone number. That's big. Is that Shefty again?
Well,
He didn't
I
lose your
thought
number?
you could, put on a do not disturb and it goes away, but obviously it does.
Moon mode.
Oh, it's the best. Put it in focus, rate the moon mode.
Boom.
Yep.
Boom, lay off me.
See you
Yeah, the
tomorrow.
moon mode, I thought that you could get another call, but obviously it doesn't work. But listen, there's a lot of reasons why the Jets are attractive. But there's one coach who's meant as much to me as any coach I've ever had, and he happens to be the coordinator there. So,
okay, so that did matter when it happened. Okay, and it ended up mattering potentially.
It didn't matter at the time for sure, but
got it.
There was obviously an interest from them and just from quite a few other teams, but that seemed to be the
Hackett was at the bottom of the bottom. Remember, head coach Denver Broncos. We suck. He's out of here. Now he's offensive coordinator for the Jets, and it's like Aaron's like, really interested in the New York Jets because the guy that they just hired is the offensive coordinator. Good for Hackett, bro.
Go.
Good for Hackett.
Boy,
legit. You have a great affinity for him, and we talked about him a little bit this season with how the season was going with the Broncos in his first year as head coach. And you spoke glowingly of him. And not that you ever don't speak glowingly of people, but it felt like that was a genuine emotion because of, I think, his family and the whole lineage and the success you guys had with the Gold Zone. So much positive was said about him by you that when the Jets hired him, everybody was like, oh, this is the Jets trying to recruit Aaron. They're hiring Hackett in an attempt to get Aaron Rodgers here. So you saying that, I think there's going to be people that are like, Woody, Salah, boys, chess, playing it.
Good pick.
Playing it.
Well, listen. I take it, with any offense I've taken today, the only offense I'm going to take is to that statement, honestly, because that actually diminishes the ability that he has to coach football and connect with people. And that is, to me, a fucking objective reality that anybody who's been around Nathaniel Hackett knows that he brings a lot of energy, a lot of fun. He's an incredible teacher of the game, especially the quarterback position. And he's a really good human being. So if it's, for people to say that was done just in an attempt to lure me, is a total disservice to Nathaniel Hackett, what he's accomplished in his career, the kind of person that he is. And so I take
you shouldn't. It was all a compliment, I think, by people.
But I push back that every time because he's not just a fucking great human, but he's a great football coach. And if Robert Saleh can understand that, and Woody Johnson can, there was not. I mean, you can ask them, but for them to do it just to attempt to lure me is a disservice to that organization in general, and disservice to Nathaniel and what he's accomplished in this league, and the kind of person that he is.
Woody Johnson and you? Never mind. Go ahead, AJ.
Have you thought about what the next 3 or 4 months look like? Are you thinking about? Have you talked to the Jets people about taking part in the off-season workouts? Do you want to get up there and throw to those guys, or what?
Well, listen, again, it's one step at a time here. Right now, I'm still under contract, so all I've stated today is I do want to play, and my intention will be to play for the Jets. But until the trade happens, I think we're still at that step.
You and Woody, how'd it go? Because we all know, he knows, we know, they know.
Yep.
He, they, and they, the whole. How'd it go? 11 hours? Is that right? Is that an accurate description of how long you guys met for when he flew out?
No, that's not accurate.
Okay, thank you.
It was pre-daylight savings. They walked out about just after sunset, which is probably shortly after 6. They arrived at the house at 2, so 6 minus 2, carry the 1 would be about 4 hours.
Wow.
Okay.
Is that 1/6 of a day?
7 hours of travel, maybe.
I think.
What'd you guys do?
They had
Oh yeah, 3.5.
Out there.
They landed and had lunch.
3.5 back.
No, quicker back. They had
Quicker
good
back.
tail
Oh,
stream.
yeah.
They had a
You guys do a
tailwind.
bunch of psychedelics out there?
Yeah, did you guys do ayahuasca together?
No,
Did you guys get vaccinated together?
Hell yeah.
Didn't do that either. No.
Oh, okay. We didn't know. There was people speculating.
You're not all in on Woody.
Pac-Man. Whoa. What did you think? Was that a fascinating convo? 4 hours? Did you get to know him, you feel like?
It was a very relaxed conversation, and it was easy conversation. It wasn't just obviously Mr. Johnson. It was Rob was there, and Nathaniel was there, and the GM Joe was there. Jaime, the money guy, was there. So there was more than just that. There was a good conversation, though. It was very easy conversation.
They ask you about ayahuasca?
No, there wasn't any of that.
Darkness?
I would have told him.
Yeah,
I told him a little bit about the darkness. There's more Rob. Rob was interested about that.
Was there any return stories like, oh, I want to boom, like, was there any, did we do a whole roundabout table talk here of our experiences? Like, do you feel like it's a good match over there? Because I think that's a big deal, isn't it? Don't you?
I think the match is important. I think there's also a sanctuary of solace that surrounds my house, where what happens inside it and some of the conversations need to be given the proper privacy.
That's the right answer. That's why you're Aaron Rodgers and I am not. Pac-Man has a question for you, pal.
Yeah.
What's
There
up,
we
bro?
go.
How you
05 draft.
doing? 05, yes. Hey, I want to know more about this darkness. It sounds like a fucking jail cell to me, like a holding cell. I don't know if you've ever been locked up. I've been locked up before, and it's a holding cell where you can't go out. It's dark, and they slide your food through. I want to know more about this darkness thing. Can you explain this to me? Because my son wanted to come, and I told him last night, I was like, if you can go in here and stay in this bathroom for an hour and a half with the lights off, with this A-Rod jersey on, you can come with me. The shit only lasts about 20 minutes.
He's not here. He is not here today.
So can you explain a little bit more to me about this, man?
I love you, Pac, man. You're a one of one, my friend.
As are.
Listen, there was a lot of people were asking about that. But the reality was the door was open. So anytime you want to go out, you can go out. I talked to a good friend who had been in about 10 days before me, and he decided every single day he was going to go out for a half hour or an hour just to kind of reset. And so that was an option. But when I blew the candle out the first afternoon, that was it for the light until I saw the light again about 9:30, I think, the morning I came out. So I enjoyed it. It was it makes you be very intentional about everything. Everything takes time and intention. Walking to the bathroom, finding your way, through the room to the bathtub, to start the bathtub, waiting for the hot water to come on 40 minutes later, and then waiting for it to fill up for 40 minutes, and then knowing you got 15 hours left in your day, so you got to find time to fill that up. And then eating is very intentional, the slow bites and slow through and enjoying the smell. You got a lot of time. But what it does is it allows you to contemplate everything. And when your mind really slows down to where you don't need as much sleep, which makes you sleep less, but you're not tired. So you have even more time for contemplation. But I found that the thoughts during that were very linear. It was basically one thought, and then that ended, and another thought, and that ended, and another thought. So that was nice. Where in modern day world, even this conversation, probably many of you are thinking about 20 other different things. Shit, I am probably too. But that's the way our minds work, because we have so much stimulation and stuff that's hitting our eyes, and light and things to look at. In the darkness, it's pitch black, and you don't even see. It doesn't. Your eyes don't adjust. So you rely on your other senses, and it's just a lot of time to really contemplate. And meditations were really nice. And I kind of had a theme of the day that I asked for in a morning meditation, and then kind of sat with that theme throughout the day and kind of live in that reality and really enjoyed it. There was the last day, like I said, I was ready to get out. Maybe I was like, okay, I think I've thought enough. But I wasn't miserable. If I had been miserable, I would have walked out. I wasn't miserable at all. I just felt like, okay, it'd been 72 hours. I'm ready to come out of here.
To Pac-Man's thought, I think a lot of us, as you were describing it, were very confused about why you would seek this type of thing out. But then you, obviously being a human who is not worried about trying to find like a level of swag or cool, just your own inner happiness, it feels like, is what we've kind of learned from it all. So when you go in there, though, like I think even all the way up to it, I was asking a lot of questions, as was AJ. We found out in the Aubrey Marcus thing, 2 wipes, you think every poop was? Did you have to smell? You had to smell? Is that how'd you get through that whole, did you just guess?
It's just a feel, man. It's a feel. I think you can all tell. Is there some remnants left you got to get or not? Like I said on there was some real solid ones that, not exactly the phantom, the ghost poop where you don't have to wipe. But
I had one of those this morning. Yeah.
But I felt pretty good. It was eating, a lot of roughage. I think that was clearing me out pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'm happy you had it all figured out in there. And I'm thankful that you seem to be at a place where you're excited, motivated, and just waiting for the next step to start with somebody else in control of that. So we appreciate you taking time out of your life. Last one before we go, because this will be talked about here probably for the next hour or so. When did AJ know exactly what was going on, and how long has he been lying to the entire world, if you had to just guess? You know what I mean?
I'd say he probably knew last Tuesday what I was
Oh
thinking.
my
yeah.
God.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
Wow.
We thought so.
That's-
Hey, he's a real one,
I don't
Aaron.
know.
Keep him around.
Yeah,
He's a
he
real.
is.
We're talking. We were putting his ass.
You
and he,
piece of shit, AJ.
he didn't lie though. Hey, he is not lie. We told that.
I give you my
exactly.
opinion.
Said it.
I give you my opinions on what I think he's going to do. You know that.
Yeah, but then you always, whenever we're gathering around, you have a cigar in your mouth.
I don't
and
know.
holding it back from me. I never lied. I never lied. I never lied. Wait, the whole. I mean, that's like waiting to happen. You know what I mean, Aaron?
No, listen. Let me redirect this because I love AJ and I don't want to feel the wrath of Laura or anybody in that family. But I think there was definitely I gave him plausible deniability. So he didn't know exactly what I was doing because I knew that he had talked about it every single day. And I wanted to go through the last week of training and see how I felt. I felt really good all week and body felt good. And
we're spinning it. Hey, you old fucks, right? That's the big question. Can you still throw the ball? Like your brain gets better, but the arm can't keep up. You've never had an issue with that. I'm assuming last week you tested it pretty good. And did you have a couple like, oh yeah, he's fucking back? Yeah. Is that what happened last week? Did we have a couple of those?
Yeah, I was back in the very highly competitive charity flag football game, if you remember.
I do remember.
The kid pick you off again?
Yeah, you hit the kid with the ball after he picked you off, right? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He also said golf was the 50th ranked quarterback.
I tried to. No, I didn't throw any picks this year.
That wasn't nice.
Had a nice clean run.
Leinart won that.
Shout out to my boy Tim Vizzy, who just absolutely balled out again, and his brother Matt.
Had a baby Tim, Matt, the Dizzy brothers.
Yeah,
they're doing their
So
thing.
we did not win. Matt Leinart, his team ended up winning, and they had two of those kids from last year. One of the kids that picked me off. So, championship kid.
So you remember the exact play that kid picked you off for sure.
I did a little
sell. He was supposed to go this way. He didn't. He's
a great kid. I need to put him on my demand list, I think.
Bingo. That's a great way to end this thing. We appreciate
He's only in JUCO. He's only in JUCO right now, but I put him on there.
How many years has he been out of high school? Might be legal. Get him in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows? We might be able to sneak him in the back door there, especially to a Jets franchise that's ready to go. They got a top 5 defense, Pac-Man.
Yes, sir, they do.
Hey, they got top 5 defense, says Pac-Man. They got Breece Hall, who, if he wouldn't have got hurt, offensive rookie of the year. Actual offensive rookie of the year, Garrett Wilson. Offensive line, right? They invested in the offensive line.
Uzama they grabbed.
Find which path moves you at Sport Check.
So
we'll see. Hey, we'll see if a trade gets done.
Yeah, I hope that a lot of stuff was cleared up. And again, I like speaking for myself. Anybody, that just consider the sources when it comes to me. I will say, there's a couple of people who've had some things that have been right, and it's been surprisingly some of the professed Jet fan commentators. But everybody else, and if somebody gets my number, just a little, heads up to them. So I'll send you the same response, either no response or the response I sent.
Yeah. So Schefter tweeted it. Schefter tweeted it. Yeah. Schefter tweeted the photo. There it is. He said, Aaron did not lie. There it is. That's confirming. Lose my number. Good try, though. What a hilarious text you sent that, Schefter.
What did he text you, though? What did Shefty text you?
I can do that if he wants to put my text out there.
Well, he was just confirming your story, I believe. He was just saying that he dunked on himself.
He doesn't want that, does he?
Oh, that's hilarious. You're an absolute beast. Can't wait to see what happens next. We appreciate the hell out of you, brother. This is a massive day on this program's history. Huge.
Look, we've done a few of those, and I'm a loyal person, which is why this has been so hard, because I love my Green Bay people. our fan base, my dear, dear friends at the organization on every level, my friends in the community. And when it comes to loyalty, I'm also loyal to you and the boys, and obviously Age and his family. And you guys have been a great platform to talk on, and that's why I wanted to come on here and hopefully clear some things up for everybody. So
We love you, bro.
out of love to everybody out there, nothing but love and appreciation, and everybody take care out there, and hopefully there'll be some movement moving forward, and we can get on with our lives.
Ty's still throwing it. Just want to let you know that. And hell yeah.
Love you.
Hell yeah.
Love you too, Aaron.
Love you, Aaron. Hey,
Sweet ring. On
sweet.
the right hand.
Two of them. I think I saw two of them today while he was talking. I'm happy we brought that up. You got some really cool rings on today, dude.
Flopping around.
Wow.
Hair looks
I
cool.
have one ring and one watch.
Oh,
Zenith.
that's one ring? That was 3 rings.
No, it's one ring.
Is that Super Bowl? Is
Prince
that-
Albert coming. What?
What? It's all about royalty. What?
I don't know. With his travels, what he's been doing.
Yeah, of course. Aaron, hey, thank you for allowing this to happen today. We appreciate you so much. Obviously, you could have done this however the hell you wanted to. You could have handled this in a variety of different ways that a lot of people would have probably told you to do so. You doing it here and you being the dude that you've been to been to us, like, we are so thankful and grateful. We appreciate the hell out of you, man.
Yeah.
Just want you to be happy. Literally, that's all we care about. Massive respect.
I am.
Bro. Good.
I am.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. All right, let's get to a break. And then on the other side, we got to react to all of that.
Boom. Oh, already have it.
Accurate, Aaron. For Pat from Gary V. This thing's going to be for sale. There's only going to be a few of them.
Yeah.
Make sure you get it.
Hey, what do you mean? He's sending it to you. One of one.
One of one. That's worth, I don't know, $600 million.
Why do you put a nutsack on his elbow?
His elbow looks sweet.
Yeah. It's weird.
I mean, that is
It's a quick sketch, dude.
That's that elbow that Gary uses to elbow people in the head when they're going up for a dunk.
Oh, yeah. No free layups, he says.
Yeah.
No free layup.
No free layups. This is Gary V's paint. And speaking of paint, that looks like it's done with a pen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you,
Gary.
Gary.
No flubs.
No flubs, dude. That's
Can
one.
send it.
That was one. You know those things where you got to keep the pen
Yeah.
on the thing?
Yep.
Well, there you go. The full interview from a few days ago between Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee. You couldn't write a better story than that. Perfect, well said, what Aaron Charles Rodgers did in his decision. I just want to take this moment and I want to thank you, Aaron, for everything you have done in Green Bay over 2 decades, 15 plus years, 1 Super Bowl, multiple MVPs. You've put everything on the table in Green Bay, and I can ask nothing but thank you. I will never take this for granted. I'm very fortunate that I watched you as a Packer last year in Green Bay. I really had a feeling that last year it could be your last year in Green Bay. I just had that heart feeling, and it was. You might have lost, but the opportunity to watch you in a Packer uniform, I will never take it for granted, and I will pass it on to my children and say, this is a guy that I used to look up to, one of the greatest football players ever to play. And we're very fortunate that maybe Aaron will play, but on a different team with the Jets. But this was mistreated by the Green Bay Packers GM, by the Green Bay Packers organization. It's such a shame. I'm really, really sad to see Aaron leave. But Aaron, I will always support you. I will always be in your corner, and I will always have your back. Whenever a person says Aaron Rodgers is overrated or the guy is selfish, I will have your back, because the people who say that are very uneducated. You want to talk about a guy that won back-to-back MVPs, very hard to do in this day and age. At the age of 37 years old and 38, winning back-to-back MVPs, it's like impossible. And this guy can do anything, and this guy's gonna have a comeback year if he signs with the New York Jets. Brett Favre signed with the Jets, and then he went on and played for the Minnesota Vikings. But we at least have 1 to 2 more years left in Aaron Charles Rodgers. Aaron, thank you so much for your time in Green Bay. It would be an honor to watch you again. Maybe go to Detroit, Buffalo. We'll look at the schedule. Maybe even going to New York. I was planning on going with Mr. John Laurinaitis from Lubbock, Texas, to Heinz Field, that I still call Heinz Field till today. They keep changing names, stadiums after stadiums after stadiums. The point is, love to see you as a Packer, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. We'll see you maybe in a Jets uniform. There's still a possibility that you might retire. But with all due respect, Aaron, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks to all the viewers out there for listening on Joe Booney on Facebook. And this will be uploaded, hopefully, on Joe's Sports Channel on YouTube. Thank you, guys. Aaron, I'm with you.